Hello everyone! Once again, this is Teacher Charity Victorino, your TLE teacher in Needlecraft, focusing on quilting. We will be learning a lot of things today, so better get ready with your notebook and pen to take down some important notes for this day's lesson. Are you ready now? Yeah! Well, that's great. Let's get started. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to Number 1, define the kinds of quilting. Number 2, differentiate each kind of quilting. And for number 3, describe the characteristics of each kind of quilting. What's in? Before we proceed with our lesson, let's refresh your mind by answering this short activity. Match the word in column A with its description in column B. Write only the letter of the correct answer on your answer sheet. I'm going to give you 1 minute to answer these questions. And your timer starts now. Make sure to read the description carefully for you to get the correct answer. Alright, time's up. Let's check your answer. Let's find out whether you have gotten all the correct answer. Kindly get your pen and check your work. Number 1 is E, number 2 is D, number 3 is E, number 4 is A, and for number 5 is C. Did you get it all right? Yeah. Wow, that's great. It seems that you really understood our previous lesson. With that, good job! Give yourselves a warm applause. At this point, let us test your creativity by doing the next activity. I want you to describe each picture being shown in our screen in 2 to 3 efficient sentences. As you do it, observe correct capitalization, punctuation marks, and agreement of words. I am going to give you 1 minute to do that. Write your answer on your answer sheet. And your timer starts now. Alright class, time's up. Stop writing and kindly show me your answer. Wow, very good. I'm sure many of you has written that you were amazed by how it looks, and some of you may say that you would want to know how the shown pictures were made. Some may be curious whether it's easy to do it or not, and if you were able to create this kind of project too. All of your ideas were correct, and I'm sure that after this day's lesson, you'll be able to get to know more about quilting and what kind of quilting would you like to create and that interests you. What is it? In order for you to understand the process of crafting quilted articles, it is necessary to understand it first and be familiar with its types, same as what we did with our previous lessons in knitting, because the outcome of your project depends on it. Since you are a beginner in quilting, knowing the kinds of quilting will guide you in making your projects easier to handle. So for today's lessons, we will be learning about the 5 kinds of quilting. Pay attention to the description for each kind of quilting, for this will help you decide what kind of quilting article is best for you to make as your project. The first kind of quilting is the hand quilting. This means to make quilts by hands, especially the top part of the quilt that is made by joining together dozens of pieces. It takes a long time for a single quilt to be completed when every stitch is made with hand, but this was the most common way of quilting. This is the classic quilting technique that was used by our previous generations, and is still used among the rural population of the Asian subcontinent. It is very important that you have a very steady hand when you are using them for quilting. Someone who quilts with their bare hands only first places very quick stitches between the edges of two pieces of fabric to buy them pass. But sometimes uneven stitches can be undone later. The main purpose of these stitches are to keep the two pieces of fabric attached together so that they can work on them later in more detailed and deliberate stitches. Let's proceed with the second kind of quilting, and this is the machine quilting. The use of sewing machine makes the entire process of quilting much faster, and using a sewing machine will speed up the procedure manifold because you can do a number of stitches in less than a second. There are actually a few sewing machines designed especially for quilting and embroidery with a longer space and adjustable speed. You should also get this beginner machine quilting patterns, beginner machine quilting designs, and motion quilting design beginners patterns as what you can see from the screen. These are quite helpful for you, especially when you are just about to use the sewing machine. You may use simple designs first, then you can customize with your creation to make it different. I hope this machine quilting designs for beginners collection can bring you more creativity and incentive for further creation. Now let's move on with the third kind of quilting, the padded quilting, which is also known as English quilting, in which only specified sections of the stitch design are padded to give the design the physical qualities of the length, breadth, or thickness. It is best to use plain color fabrics, and the design best suited to this type of quilting includes motifs and curved geometrics composed of many tiny sections. If you want to experiment on modern style, instead of padded quilting, use a printed fabric with a distinct motif composed of small curved areas. The fourth kind of quilting is the corded quilting. It is a type of quilting which linear designs are raised from the background with a cord or yarn filler. This kind of quilting is often combined with the padded quilting to accentuate both the lines and the shapes of the design. There are two ways of achieving the raised look. The most common method is to stitch the design in two lines through the layers of the fabric. The passages are threaded with yarn or other rope-like fillers. The second method involves only one layer of fabric. The cord is laid under the fabric and stitches in place at the same time. The fifth kind of quilting is chop-on-two or stopped quilting. This type of quilting is distinguished by the top layer of the quilt or wall hanging is lined and selected areas are outlined with running stitch. Stopping is pushed into these areas from the back to emphasize them and make them stand out more distinctly. Chop-on-two can be fused successfully with other forms of quilting. It is very effective with a closely quilted background or which linear details is added in Italian quilting. Once you have learned the different types of quilting, you may apply this by creating your own quilted articles like pot holders, doormats, blankets, pillowcases, jackets, bags, and other stuff. Learning quilting and its types will help develop your creativity by thinking different designs, styles, and different products. Another is it will help develop your resourcefulness because it can help you create useful things from things that seem useless like old clothes or fabric clippings. You can recycle those and turn them into a useful piece of art. Not only that, you can also gain income from it by selling this, and it doesn't require much capital. So there you have it, class. We have learned the 5 different kinds of quilting. Among these kinds of quilting, which do you like best? Which kind of quilting do you find it easy to do? Wow, that's good to know. It seems that you have enjoyed learning about the different kinds of quilting. So let's have a review of what we have learned today. So there are 5 kinds of quilting. Can you tell me what are those? Yes, what you have answered are all correct. So the kinds of quilting are: first, hand quilting; second, machine quilting; third, padded quilting; fourth, corded quilting; and the fifth one is the trap-on-two or stop quilting. For me to find out whether you really understood our lesson, answer this next activity using your answer sheet. Answer what's more by drawing a line to connect each pair of quilting with its description. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to accomplish the activity, and your timer starts now. Okay, class, time's up, and let's check your answer. Okay, class, kindly show me your answer. Let's check whether you got it all right. So for number 1, trap-on-two, selected areas are outlined with running stitch. Number 2, padded is also known as English quilting. Number 3, hand is the classic technique. And number 4, corded, in which designs are raised from background with a cord or yarn filler. And for number 5, machine makes the entire process of quilting faster. So how many of you got 5? Let me see. Wow, great! It seems that you fully understood what we discussed today. With that, good job, class! I'm very proud of you. For your final activity as your performance task, do additional activity found on page 19 of your module. For the directions, based on the topic discussed, recycle fabric or any materials available at home by making your own quilting design. Attach it on a short band paper and label it with your name. You will be graded based on the given rubrics shown in our screen. That ends our lesson for today, class. I hope that you will be able to apply what we have learned today. If there are still some queries regarding our topic, just approach me by means of text, call, or chat, and I am very much willing to help you. Goodbye! See you in our next lesson. God bless us all!